from anyone. Just a little background on me. So I started No Code MBA and just launched it about a month ago. And it's really a kind of an education site to help people learn how to build without code. And I've really focused on building tutorials and projects that have like real world uses. Like I tried to have it where you finish the project and you could, start a company or test out a company with it, or a real use it as a real project. And I kind of have the tutorials from start to finish. So everything is starting from a blank, basically computer screen to a finished product. And I also am trying to focus, even focus more into if you want to start a profitable company, like how can you use no code to really make money. So that's part of the site. If you go, there's an interview section, so you can see the story of a bunch of different people who've have profitable companies that they've built with no code. So you can check out the site to learn more. I'll kind of come back to it at the end before we sign off. But yeah, so in this video, I just I thought it could be a good project, kind of go through Webflow. I'm not sure how much experience you might have with Webflow or not have with Webflow, but I'm going to kind of assume that this will be, for all skill levels. So if you don't have any experience, I'll try and kind of explain everything at least quickly. So you can do it on your own. You could follow along if you wanted on Webflow, or I guess this is recorded, so you could go back later and follow along. Might be easier if you could, pause and stuff. But yeah, let me go ahead and share my screen, and then we can get started. If you have any questions, you can just feel free to ask, or we can definitely get to all your questions at the end, which might even be easier. But if anything seems really confusing, definitely don't feel like you can't reach out and pause it. All right, so let's share the screen here. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, so does everyone see my screen? There should be a Webflow.
All good.
Okay, cool. So this is just a blank Webflow page. I just started a new project. I'll just go to the dashboard real quick. So this is this job board project I just created. When I'm kind of creating a project, I find it helpful to look at like a real site as a template. So remote.co, I'm just going to use this as kind of a template. So what we're going to build is there'll be jobs, but I think that one thing that could be helpful is to break it down into categories, so we can show different types of remote jobs. So we'll make a remote job job board, kind of similar to remote.co. You'll be able to go into the category, see all the jobs in that category, and then you'll be able to click in and see details about that job and apply, which is going to take you to that job's like a different link essentially. So we're back in Webflow, and this is just, I haven't done anything yet. It's a completely blank site. One thing that I find helpful in Webflow and really in any no-code project you're going to build, really in any project you're going to build that has a database, is to think about the database structure before you start building, because what you build with the database structure is kind of going to that's kind of going to end up make an impact in everything that you do in the future. So if you do it right at first, it's going to just make everything easier later on. So in Webflow, that's this CMS here on the left, and CMS stands for Content Management System, and that is where all your data is stored in Webflow. So in our case, it's going to be jobs and categories and things like that. So the first thing we want to do is create a new collection, which, if you're familiar with databases, it's kind of like a database table. In this first collection, let's call this categories, because this is going to be like, what we're going to do is have this be like accounting, data entry, design, developer, the job categories. So we're going to do categories. Under info, we're just going to have name, and that's going to be like design. And I don't think for now we need anything else. So we'll just go ahead and create this collection. And we have 0 categories in our collection. So let's just go ahead and create a few. So we have a few to play with. So we'll have design. We have, I think there was like data entry. Let's see what else. Let's do 2 more. How about sales and marketing? And one thing here, what Webflow is doing is creating a slug as well. And so you can see here, website.com/categories/sales. What this is the URL. So Webflow is automatically creating a URL for each category, each part of your CMS. If you want, can have their own page. And that's kind of the power of Webflow, is that you'll be able to create one template, like a category template, and then you'll have like a page to show all of the design jobs, but then it'll also automatically create a page to show all the developer jobs and all the marketing jobs. You only have to update one template. So it's kind of the power of Webflow. So let's do sales, and let's create one more. Let's do marketing. Okay, great. So now let's create another CMS collection, and this is going to be jobs itself. So here we are going to want to add more information. So I'm just going to go split screen, so that way we can see, kind of see Webflow and our template site at the same time. We want to add more fields here. So by default, there's name, and that's going to be like, retail UI, that's the name. Let's add company. Actually, that is interesting. So let's add company for now. If we have time at the end, what I'll do is maybe I'll create another CMS collection for companies. And then what you could do is you could have a whole page dedicated to that company's job. For now, we're just gonna include it here as kind of like a static field. Let's go ahead and add, let's say description. So we're gonna do, let's do rich text for this. So it's gonna be the job description. What rich text does is it's going to allow us to format our text in the CMS. So like have bullet points and things like that. So that's going to be helpful in the job description. So like all this could just be in the rich text field. Let's go ahead and add a button. But really it's a link. So we're going to add a link here, and this is going to be link to job. I'm going to save that. And let's also add a reference. So this is another really powerful thing with Webflow, is this reference field. So what we're going to do is label this category, and the collection that we're referencing is that category. So what this is going to do is allow us to link the job type to the category. So we're going to save that. Let's create the collection, and let's make a few jobs real quick. So let's do a new job, and we'll just copy in some information from here. So let's go into marketing. Let's just pick, I'm just going to open up a few tabs so we can just add in the content quickly. So I'm just going to copy and paste the name. The company is 4 Walls. The description, I'm just going to copy in this into the rich text. And you can see it copied in like the bullet points, that's what's really helpful about rich text. The link to the job, so I'm just gonna copy the link address here. And the category is, is marketing. So I'm gonna create that, and let's just quickly do that for another one, just so we have some data to play with. So let's pull in all this information. Oh, that did not work. Let's see. Copy. There we go. There's Wiley. And the link to the job. And this is also marketing. And create that. And let's do one more, but let's actually, why don't we have this be a design job? So it'll be a different category. So mobile UX designer. And I'll paste this in, and this is Mattermost. And one thing that's cool about Webflow too is it has an API. So if we have time at the end, maybe I can get into this. If not, it would be kind of a separate lesson. But you could connect. You can connect Webflow with like Integromat to like a Google Sheet, for example, or just data that you're pulling in from the internet. So you could automatically create these job postings if you wanted to kind of pull information from the internet and automatically create them. You also could have like a Google form that you fill out that automatically creates the job posting. There's ways to kind of speed up this process. So this is design. Okay, cool. So now that we have some data in here, does anyone have any questions about the CMS or anything so far? Otherwise, I'll start kind of designing the site. Cool, awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna make this screen bigger again. So we have some data in our CMS. I'm just gonna pull in our template site to the same screen. So here we go. So why don't we kind of do what they did here with kind of this home screen with like the different categories. So what we're gonna do is, first what I'm gonna do is just get the data onto the site, and then we'll work on styling it a little bit more nicely. So let's go ahead and add a section in. I like to label this main section and add some padding. This is helpful just to have kind of a section in your site that gives some better spacing, which you'll see in a minute. But now let's add a collection list into that section, which you just have to drag it over. Kind of, you'll see it kind of click into that section. And the source is going to be categories. And you can see it automatically kind of has those categories listed, but we don't have any content in there yet. So first, let's add a link block here and pull that under the collection item. And now you can see that link block is automatically pasted into every collection item automatically. So let's go ahead and click on, we're gonna choose what the link goes to. We're gonna do collection page, we're gonna do current category. So what this is gonna do is you're gonna click on the category, it's gonna take you to that category page. So we're gonna exit out, let's go ahead and add a heading and pull that in there to the link block. And you can see it's pulling in the heading. Right now it just says heading because it's not dynamically pulling in from the CMS, but we'll dynamically pull in the name. So now we have marketing, sales, data entry, and design. So we'll go ahead and exit out there. And okay, so that's great. So it's a good first step. Now let's quickly style one of these pages, or at least create the page. So when we click on any of them, it'll actually take us to that page. So how we do that, here up on the top left page, you can see we're on the home page right now. Here are those templates that I was talking about before. So we want to style the CMS collection categories template. So here you can see it's empty right now. But let's go ahead and first let's add that section, and let's add the class main section. So this, if you're familiar with CSS at all, this is kind of, this side is the CSS that you're designing visually, and this is the HTML up here. So this class main section, we added padding. Padding is space on the inside of that section, and if we add that class, we can add anywhere on the site, and it's going to automatically have the same styling, which is helpful. So let's go ahead now. Let's add the heading under the main section, and let's get the text from name. So you can see now it's going to say design. Awesome. So real quick, why don't I go ahead and I'm going to publish. It's going to automatically, on the top right, you can publish to a kind of Webflow domain that it's going to create. I'm going to click this, and actually let's go to the home page, and you can see this is a live website right now. So really in like 10 minutes, you can already have a website with multiple pages. So here, if I click on marketing, it's going to take us to that marketing page. Sales is going to take us to the sales page. So, so it's pretty cool. We've kind of already created a dynamic website here. Any questions so far? Sweet, awesome. All right, so now that we're on this categories template, why don't we add the jobs? So I'm going to go to up here. If you're on a template page and you want to see what it looks like as any specific part of your CMS, you can click up here on the item. So let's go to the marketing item, because there's 2 jobs there, so it's just a little bit more data to work with. So let's add an element. We're going to add a collection list. So we're adding another collection list, but kind of last time we did it on the categories, which gave us like all the job categories, but this time we're going to do it on the jobs. So here, right now, you can see there's the 3 jobs. So it's not filtering only to marketing. I'll do that in a minute. But first, let's do this, what we did last time. Let's add a link block. I didn't explain what this is. What a link block does is it basically makes the whole thing clickable. Otherwise, because we want people to be able to click the job and go to the job page where they're going to get more information about that job. So the link block, it's going to go to the current job, which is what we did similar to before. And now let's go ahead and add a heading here, and we're going to get the text from jobs. So it's going to be the name. And let's not worry about anything else for now. So I'm not going to worry about styling. And then, so these are all 3 jobs. We want to make sure it's only showing the marketing jobs. So we're going to go up to the collection list wrapper, and we're going to go to settings up on the top right. So we have settings, and this is where you can add filters and sorting, things like that. Limit items if you have a lot of jobs, which would be helpful for a job board. But we want to filter where the category equals current category. This is just, I think, really displays kind of the power of Webflow. So now it's showing only marketing jobs here, but because it's a template, let's go to design. It's going to show that design job automatically, which is really cool. If you go to like sales, it's just going to say none because we didn't create any sales jobs yet. So yeah, so this is kind of the bones of the site. Let's go ahead and publish it real quick. And let's check it out. let's go to the home page, and we have the different categories. We'll click in. Awesome, we have that. And then if we go to the job, we haven't built that page yet, so we'll do that next. So let's go to the page. Let's go to the jobs template. And let's go ahead and add let's do a section again. We'll just give this the class of main section, add some heading. Let's add text, a header. And we're going to get text from the job name. Why don't we add in another heading, but it's going to be like H3, a little smaller. We're going to get text from the company. So now we have the job, we have the company. Now we want to add in that job description. So you can't add just like a paragraph because it's a rich text data type in the CMS. So you need to select rich text here. If you don't select rich text, then you're just it's not gonna let you choose job description. But here we did rich text. Now we can get text from this job description that we already created. So here we go. And then let's go ahead and add a button. Drag that to the bottom. And we're going to have this be a collection page. Oh, sorry, it's going to be a URL actually. We're going to get the URL from our link to job. And why don't we go ahead and just relabel this as apply. Cool. And let's make sure we have everything in that main section. So it gets just a little bit more padding. And sweet. So let's go back to our homepage. And if you click this button here, you can also kind of click around your site without publishing it. But here we have the marketing, we can click in and we have the job and you can apply. Awesome. So cool. So I think, yeah, like this is kind of the power. Like in 20 minutes, we've basically built out a functioning job board without design. Any questions here? Otherwise, the next step, I'm going to go in and start working a bit more on the design.
Yeah, I've just got a quick question. Sorry, yeah, sure. You might have said it at the start, just about the CMS. You know, you sort of manually put that information into the CMS to begin with. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing that there's a sort of way that a user would be able to put that in, and you wouldn't have to do that manually. I don't know if you've explained that the bit when I was late. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so like if a company like wanted to put their own job on,
exactly.
Yeah. So there are definitely ways to do that. What I would recommend is like you could easily have like Airtable or Google Form or something like that where they would fill it out, and then you would use Zapier or Integromat to push it to the Webflow CMS.
Okay.
Yeah. And then also, let's say you were kind of more of an aggregator, right? And you were gonna use like Integromat or something to get a bunch of job listings, put it into like a structured format in a Google Sheet, then you could use the same kind of way to push it to Webflow as well.
Yeah, I thought that'd be the case. Cheers.
Cool. All right, so let's spend a little time designing. The thing about design is you could spend forever making something look really good. I'm not necessarily I'm still learning and getting better at Webflow design as well. But I think we can make this look a little bit nicer, easier to kind of browse pretty quickly. So let's go ahead. Let's start on the homepage. Let's see, what do we want to do? I like to get inspired by real websites. It's always helpful with design to have kind of a template to be looking at. So I kind of like how they have this homepage. And they're kind of letting you preview the jobs. This might not be quite as easy for us to see unless we inputted a bunch of jobs, but I think this is still kind of a nice way to do it. So let's go back to the job board, and here we go. Okay, this is the home page, and let us go to the navigator. Let's create like a header first. So let's go ahead. Let's add a section here. And let's add a heading. And we're going to call this remote jobs here. And then let's add a subheading. The best jobs. Let's see what they do. All of that, yeah. Your next remote job. That's good. And the section, let's give it main section. And then let's also add another class to this, which is top. What this allows us to do is it's still going to inherit all the styling from the main section, but you can also add more styling because it's like a combo class here. So here what's going to happen is if we add a background, it's only going to affect this top section. Whereas if we added a background to this main section, it would also edit the top section because it has this main section selector. So let's go ahead, just pick a color here. And under the heading, let's go ahead, let's just give it an H1 selector, H1 class, make the color black, the font, maybe Merriweather, or maybe actually Open Sans. And this will do H2, and we're gonna make the color black also. Let's do Open Sans, but we'll make it smaller. And for height, you generally want the height to be just a little bit more than the size. This is on line, basically when there's a line break in mobile, so you can see if I made this a 5 height, it's gonna all squish together. So that's what the height is. So maybe that 35. So go back. Cool. So now let's style these boxes a little bit. So we have our collection list, collection item, and link block. So right now we need to remove some styling from the link block because by default it's making it blue and it has this underline. So we're going to go to under typography, decoration. We're going to remove that underline, and we are going to go ahead under typography, and why don't we make it black for now? And let us also add some padding. In Webflow, if you hold shift when you are dragging in spacing for padding or margin, it's going to automatically add the same padding or spacing to every side. If you hold on a Mac, if you hold Command, I think it's Alt on a PC, it'll just Option actually, not Command on a Mac. It'll let you adjust the top and bottom or the left and right at the same time. So let's go ahead and add a border here. We're going to make the color, it's like a light gray. Why don't we make the width standard? So let's do, why don't we do like 300, maybe 500 pixels. Maybe 300. Something else, so I did this by accident. You're gonna, this is kind of an example of how Webflow works. But see, I was accidentally styling here under this tablet screen size. So by doing that, that's going to apply the styles to the mobile and to the mobile portrait. Like as you get smaller, it's not going to apply it to the larger screen sizes. And this is really helpful when making when kind of making your site optimized for mobile. But here you can see, if you go back to desktop, it's not copying over those styles, which is, it is a little bit frustrating when you do that. But I'm just going to quickly fix that. So I just have to remove that styling, make the color black. Let's change the text. Let's go to this Montserrat font. And let's just make it standard across everything. We'll do Open Sans, and I was gonna add a border here with a light gray. And under the width, let's go ahead. I think let's try 400 pixels. And then here under display, let's do a flex. Flex is a really helpful styling option in Webflow, so we can go ahead and justify that to the center. So here you can easily change the way that your data is displayed. Let's add a little bit of margin to the top and bottom, just so there's some spacing here. And then under heading 1, let's make the margin equal to 10 and 10. So here there's equal spacing on the top and bottom. Cool. Let's also add a hover styling. So if you go here to the state, so we're on that link block here on the right, we're going to hover, and we're going to change the background. So we're going to change this background to maybe this blue up here. Yeah. So I use this eyedropper. You click on that, and then you can click anywhere on your computer to kind of steal a color, hex code. So this is under hover. So what you can see is if I, while we're actually in hover, let's add a transform, and let's make it go -3 down, which is really a little bit up. And let's exit out of hover, and let's add a transition. So what that means, so here you can see when you hover over, it's working, but it's not smooth because we haven't added a transition. So what you need to do is click on that link block in the non-hover state, in the original state, and you want to add a transition. And I'm just going to go ahead down to all properties and add an ease transition here. So now you can see we have kind of a smooth hover state. Now let's go ahead and style this. Let's remove this class. Let's have this be maybe H3. And let's remove the margin. We keep it at 5, and then, or 4. And then the size, let's make this smaller. Maybe a little bigger. Cool. And let's add a header here, the top above this wrapper. Let's give it the H2, and then let's say choose your job category, or browse by job category. And cool. So let's go ahead and let's just quickly style this on mobile. So you can see that looks good. Let's keep going smaller. You just want to make sure it doesn't break when you get to mobile, but this actually worked fine. So let's quickly go to the categories template. Why don't we style this real quick? So here, let's give this the H1 style. So that's what's nice. Once you style it once, you can kind of use that throughout your Webflow site. Here, the link block, we're going to want to do the same thing. Remove that decoration. Make the color, let's make it black. And then why don't we add the company? Just add a little text here on the bottom and the company. Look a little small. This, like H3. And then the link block. Let's add some padding, and then let's add a line border here. I know I'm going fast, but just trying to add some quick styles. Let's make the border radius. This is the curve here around the outside. And let's make the color a little more gray. And let's also just add another text here at the bottom that says, double click here, view job with, why don't we do like a right arrow? Let's search for Unicode right arrow. This would be the fastest way to do this. So just copy this into view job. Cool. Let's put the company above, actually. Let's see. Company above that. Let's fix the spacing. Go to text block. And that margin, or make that less. Okay, cool. And perfect. Let's also add just another hover effect here. Why don't we just make the transition, or sorry, the transform -3, and then we'll go back and add a transition. It's going to be an ease. And now when you hover over, it's just going to rise up a little bit. Cool. Let's also...
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, sure.
Isn't there like a more efficient way of duplicating or using the same animation that we used earlier over the hover?
Yeah, no, good question. There actually is. So yeah, we should do that to make that a little bit easier. Let's go back to the home screen. I see. Let's add here. You're right. Let's do that. So here you can see this is actually using a link block class. So actually, you're right. So if we go back to the categories template, let's go ahead. Let's remove this class. It's link block 2, and then let's add link block. Okay, so that did kind of work. The problem is some of the design is a little different. So what I'm going to do, we're going to keep that styling. That's great. Let's just change this to, let's add another combo class. Let's call this like job card. And then what we're going to do is we're going to change to vertical instead of horizontal. And then let's also make the width a little bit longer because it's a job. I think that, okay, perfect. So now, yeah, great question. That's looking good. Let's just add a little bit of padding as well, oops, to the link block. And let's add the border radius too. Cool, yeah, great question. Yeah, Luke said, it's definitely faster if you can to copy over classes that you've already been using. If you want to have the design be similar for sure. So yeah, so we did that. Let's just check our homepage, make sure that still looks fine. That's good. Why don't we add? I think there's 2 things we want to do here. This got a little messed up because we were editing this H3 on the other page. So something to keep in mind with Webflow is if you're editing on one page, it will affect it on another page. And then here, let's add that radius. Let's go back to, so I'm probably going to have messed up a little bit on the categories template. I think that looks fine. Okay, cool. One thing I wanted to do here was, let me just quickly add a div, which is essentially just kind of a block to kind of can hold items on your page. So I'm going to add this title in the div. I'm going to duplicate, so I just copy and pasted this. I don't want to get I just want to write in my own. It's just going to say jobs. And then what I'm going to do is here, this is kind of a way in Webflow to have like a phrase and pull in information from the CMS. So here we're pulling in design from the CMS, and we want it to say design jobs. So here, let's go ahead and then you need to change the display to an inline display. And then actually, let's go back real quick. Let's add a combo class of inline. Otherwise, every H1 is going to be inline, and we don't want that. So we're going to make sure only these combo classes with inline have that. So we're going to call that inline. And then let's also add another combo class here, which is margin right. And we're just going to add a little bit of margin to kind of add a space here. And then the whole div block, let's just add a little bit of padding. So here it's going to say design jobs. Let's go to like marketing jobs. Awesome. Let's just also H3. Let's fix the height is too tall. There's too much space here. We're going to go like 32. That's better. Cool. And let's go ahead and let's just quickly on the jobs template. Let's just edit these slightly. Let's make that H1. Let's make this H3, or that's fine. Let's go ahead and just update this button. Let's just give it a class of button. And let's change the font to Open Sans so it matches. And the color can be whatever we want, maybe like purple. And let's go ahead and make the width, let's make it like 400 px, so whoops, 200. Let's display, let's make it center. And let's also just make this font size bigger. Apply now, and let's add more padding here. And let's go ahead and make the radius 5. Cool. So awesome. So let's go ahead and let's publish that real quick. While we're doing that, the last thing I want to do is just quickly add a nav bar and show you how symbols work on Webflow, which is a way to kind of copy over like your nav bar. You can build it once, but use it everywhere on your site. So we'll go ahead. Let's add a nav bar component. You could build like your own nav bar from scratch, but here, just to make it easier for now, we're going to use the Webflow nav bar here. So this would be where you have your logo. This would just be where to add in links. But all I'm going to do quickly now is just turn this nav bar into a symbol and show you how you can use that symbol in different parts of your site. So when you're highlighted over the nav bar, let's go ahead and add a symbol here. We want to create a new symbol. We're going to call it nav bar. Let's create that symbol. So now you can see it's highlighted in green. Like if you're away from it, you have to double click on that symbol to edit it. And let's go, so we're on the jobs template. Let's go to our home page. Let's add that nav bar symbol, and you can drag that up to the top. Let's see, now that's there as well. And let's go to the categories template, and let's go ahead and drag that symbol there as well. Let's go to the top. One other thing I wanted to do quickly is, so just show you, so let's say you, trying to think. Yeah, let's go back to the home page. And so we're browsing by job category. Let's say you want to copy this, and let's go to the categories template. So let's say you're here in design jobs, but on the bottom you want to say like, let's browse other types of jobs as well. So let's go ahead. I believe we should just be able to paste that in. So you can paste in, it's already done for you basically. Let me just make sure that's in that section. Oops, I'll put that down at the bottom. And let's add a header above it. Get that right. Let's give that an H1 styling. And let's say browse more jobs. And just add a div and put that in together just so I can add some spacing here. So let's add some spacing here. So kind of be at the bottom. So the idea here is like if you're on marketing here, but you could browse more jobs and kind of choose the type of job you want to browse by. Let's publish it real quick. And cool. So let's just go to the home page here. We have the header. You can browse by category. We'll click in. You can browse a different job. You can click to different categories here, which is kind of cool. So we can go back to marketing just here at the bottom. We'll click into the job and we can click apply now, and it'll take you to that job. So we are running out of time, but I think this was hopefully helpful as kind of an introductory to like how to kind of both structure in Webflow and also start styling Webflow as well. Like I was saying, there's more you could do to kind of automate adding stuff to the CMS, and there's definitely more you can do on the website. But yeah, happy to answer any questions that you have now about this project, about Webflow, or any no-code tools, any questions that you might have.
Sure. Yeah, I do have a question, Seth. First of all, thank you very much for the well, I would call it a tutorial, but it was more of a live session actually. So that's really nice to see how someone like you uses Webflow. So one of the things that I noticed was that you were actually, well, you started off your session by saying that it is really handy to think of your bases in Webflow as a database, to start thinking about the data structure and seeing how you're going to fill or make the architecture fit in your Webflow website. And I was working on in Webflow earlier today, and I was designing an events block where I was going to have some events that are coming up. And I realized, or I didn't use a CMS beforehand, so I didn't really think how the data structure would look like. And then I just, when I had the component done, I manually copy pasted a couple of those events to have multiple rows of them in there. So I was wondering, would you recommend always using a CMS when styling something that you know in advance is going to have multiple of the same components in one block? Would you say that's the best practice?
Yeah, I would. At least for me, I think that like if you know like you're building an event blog and you're going to have multiple events, and it is a little bit tricky. Maybe I'm just not sure how to do it, but there could be an easier way. But right, if you design something without the CMS and then you want to add the CMS after, it is a little bit tricky. You can do it. You kind of have to add your classes and stuff like that. But I mean, I definitely think it's helpful. Even if you're putting in, dummy data or fake data at first, just to kind of build it out. I think it's helpful, and even like what's cool is like we built this out. We built out the structure. Let's say we wanted to add in more information, like how much the job paid or something like that. You could add that to your CMS, and you could easily add a text field in Webflow, and it would just automatically add it all. So I definitely would say it is a best practice to kind of think about your data structure first, even if it's not everything, that at least like you're gonna have something to work with, and I do find that really helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, when I noticed you starting out the CMS, I quickly realized like shit, this is gonna be a bunch of work that I have to do after I've made the components already.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
Cool. Has anyone else got any questions? I have if no one else does.
Yeah, I'd like to say thanks very much. I learned something there with the triple combo class. I didn't know you could do more than two. That's a great thing. And your little tip there with the dynamic titles, that's genius. So thank you very much for that. Yeah, that just it's a simple thing, but yeah, it's a valuable thing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's funny with Webflow, like there's these little like tricks that you kind of pick up over time that like it's kind of like something I wish that Webflow just had the ability to like easily add in a word like that, but you kind of have to figure out ways around it, for sure. Yeah.
Have you got any other tips and tricks like that you could share that sort of spring to mind?
I'm trying to think. Why don't I go to No Code MBA real quick, because that's all built in Webflow. That's also what's really cool is that it's all Webflow and MemberStack, which was kind of a cool, like MemberStack's amazing. I don't know if any of you have used it before, but really pretty cool. Trying to think any other. I mean, honestly, the Flex the flex design. If you haven't used that, I find that really, really helpful because it just like really makes it easy to center things, add things kind of to how you want them to be. Let's see. One other trick that I think is pretty cool is, so here you can see on the right, as you scroll down, it kind of sticks to the top. You can achieve that with, you have to go ahead, if you have, it might be, I don't know if I can explain it in 10 seconds, but basically if you have a 2-column layout, and then on the right column, you change the position to fixed. And then once you do that, you also want to add like 20 pixels here to the top. It's going to break this, but what that does is as you scroll down, when it's 20 pixels from the top, so there's a little bit of space, it'll stick and it'll kind of go down with you, which I find helpful. Yep. Can't think of any. If I think of anything else, yeah, I'll let you know. But yeah.
That's great, thank you. Yeah, those sort of tidbits are really great. Anyone else got any questions? Otherwise, I'll quickly fire away mine, but they're just quite generic. I've got, so if you've got any more specific ones, please, yeah, fire them off to Seth.
I mean, I don't necessarily have a Webflow specific question, but maybe more related to No Code MBA.
Yeah, sure.
I was wondering, what are one of the biggest things or the most important things that you've learned doing the No Code MBA project?
Yeah, sure. In terms of like no code, or in terms of something else, I guess.
Well, I mean, I guess a lot of different types of learnings will accompany such a project, such as the entrepreneurial side of things. But I suppose I'm mostly interested in the no-code stuff, but also in launching a product and everything that accompanies that.
Yeah, sure. I can focus the answer on the no-code stuff. Could probably do a whole another hour on that question. It's a great question. But yeah, I mean, I think on the no-code side, for me, like honestly, connecting it to MemberStack and building out the membership site I had never done that before. That I found, it kind of blew me away with like what you can do with it. And like, if any of you are ever building a membership site, feel free to reach out, because there's a lot that I kind of learned that isn't necessarily so obvious, but like there's things you can do to like hide certain things. Like for example, if we go to a paid course, there's certain like parts of the site, like this red like premium icon, which only shows up because the site is like set to a premium site. And then if you click to like a free lesson, it will show that free lesson. But if you go to like a one that's not free, it'll lock it, right? So like there's just a lot of ways to do that. That I found really interesting. Glide is really how I got started with no code, and that I just really like Google Sheets. So like if you have experience with Google Sheets, I think Glide is amazing, and like they add features all the time. Yeah, so I guess, but yeah, in terms of building No Code MBA, I think like the MemberStack is something I would look into if you're interested in that. I found it pretty powerful.
And what do you think are the fundamental principles of no code? What are things that you see occurring, or what are some principles that you think are important across different no code tools?
In terms of when you're kind of learning it, or just in general to like to build like are there kind of principles across building projects essentially?
Yeah, the latter.
Yeah, sure. So I think that, and it's interesting, I think that the principles with building no code projects are actually similar to the principles of building even a code project, right? If you're building with code, I think that you want to think about a lot of the same things. One is, I think there's a couple things. One is definitely the database structure, like the data structure of your project. Like if you're building an app, like there's users, but like, what are the attributes of those users? Like, what are the data types in your project? Like, okay, we're building a job board. And that was even like, I kind of mentioned in the beginning, oh, we could create a company collection. And I honestly would have done that if I was really building a job board. I just kind of wanted to, it would have taken too long. But kind of thinking about that stuff ahead of time, because that it is better if I want to add in the company now, it'd be kind of a pain out to go back and change things. So I think really thinking about the database structure, I think it's helpful to really understand databases. If you don't have any experience with that, like, I think it's helpful on a basic understanding to know how databases work. How do databases relate to each other? How do you connect like a job to a company in a database? So I find that is kind of a principle that is really helpful. The other thing I would think about is what are the features that you want built, and like what do you really need built in your project? I think that sometimes, and this is, I think, even sometimes more important with no code, because with code, it takes more effort to build out features. So you're kind of forced to think more about it. On no code, it's easier, but it can be a distraction, especially if you're not building the right thing. To me, I find that important. I also, another principle I think is important. I do think design is important, and I think that with no code, design might even be more important, because that's more of a differentiator, right? Like design and marketing, like if the product is easier to build, what is going to set you apart? Sometimes I see no code projects that I think are cool, but if they had great design, I think it would really could stand out. That's something else I kind of like to keep in mind. And I guess if you are building something kind of with a more business focus in mind, to kind of think about the business model also, like before you get started, because all of that, like all that stuff, like that, if the more you can think about before you get started, the easier it's going to be to build. Like you want to have as much of it planned out in your head, or like written down, or like sketched out before you get started, just because it's always going to be easier to try and make those right decisions first. Yeah. So kind of just a few things to keep in mind.
Great, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. I'll just quickly rattle off my questions before you have to go, Seth. Yeah, just wanted to know quickly. So someone like me, I'm not sure, maybe some others here, completely fresh to Webflow, and that actually reassured me, like seeing your go through it, because it wasn't as daunting as I maybe thought it would be. But how did you learn it? I'd be intrigued how you got sort of from 0 to 1 in it, and just some good practice for people that are starting out, and any mistakes you'd tell us to avoid making that will provide us head scratching moments if we don't know about them. So yeah, would love to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I basically kind of learned more of the hard way. Like I know Webflow has tutorials that are good. I think they have pretty good videos to kind of get you to a basic level of competency. But I just kind of played around with it and learned it. I think it took me, like a week to kind of start to feel comfortable with it. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I always liked, if you can, to like have a project in mind that you want to build, and then build that project, because that's just going to give you a goal to work towards. I would recommend, I have this free course, build a custom blog in Webflow. So anyone can watch it. I really do recommend it. If you kind of went through and built this project in Webflow, you're going to build a blog, and once you do that, you're going to kind of have an understanding of the CMS of kind of how to build it out. It's going to be similar to what we built here. So to me, that's the most important part. So that's what I would say.
Thanks very much. Yeah, that's really helpful. Cool. I don't want to take any more of your time, and I think you have to bounce soon. So yeah, thanks so much for that. Yeah, thanks for your time. Is there anything else you want to sort of say before we sort of wrap this up, Seth?
Yeah, no, thanks so much for having me. And hopefully this was helpful in some way. If you want to connect with, or if you have any further questions or want to connect with me, you can reach out on Twitter. It's either at No Code MBA or at Seth J. Kramer. You could also email me, seth@nocode.mba. One thing, if you found this helpful and you wanted to get more tutorials, right now I'm doing $49 one-time payment for No Code MBA, so which is going to increase at the end of the month. So yeah, so I'll plug that if you're interested. But otherwise, this was fun. Yeah, hopefully this was helpful.
Yeah, it was super helpful for me, and hopefully it was for you guys. But just to say, we've got Pipe. I've said that wrong. Pipe Abello next week, who is from Hello Guru. So he'll be maybe walking us through Bubble and how that works. So yeah, would love to see you there as well. But thanks again, Seth, and thanks all for coming. Really appreciate it, and hopefully see you all soon.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Seth. Thank you. Cheers, Max.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.